Admiral Kim Tae-ho stood on the bridge of the UEF Incheon, watching the stars through the main window. The ship moved slowly through the asteroid belt at the edge of Earth's solar system. This was his daily patrol, the same boring route he had flown for 3 years now. The aliens only let humans have 12 ships, and they could not leave their home system. Every day felt the same. Kim touched the communication panel on his chair. "Navigation, report our position," he said to his crew. "Sir, we are near asteroid field 77 Alpha. All systems normal. No unusual activity detected," came the reply from Lieutenant Park, who worked at the navigation station. Kim nodded and looked back at the stars. 50 years ago, when the aliens first came to Earth, everyone thought it would be amazing. First contact with other life in the universe. The Galactic Council welcomed humanity with open arms, or so it seemed. They gave humans technology to travel between stars and invited Earth to join their great alliance of planets. But it was all a lie. The Council treated humans like children who could not be trusted. They said humanity was too young, too violent, too unpredictable. Earth could only build small ships with weak weapons. Humans could not travel beyond their own solar system without permission. The Council watched everything they did. The worst part was that Kim knew they were right to be afraid. Not because humans were violent, but because humans were smart. While the aliens thought they were keeping Earth weak, humans had been working on something much bigger, something the Council would never expect. "Sir, we are receiving a coded transmission," said Communications Officer Lee from her station. "It appears to be coming from Nexus Prime." Kim felt his heart beat faster. Nexus Prime was the giant space station where the Galactic Council met. No one from Earth was supposed to receive messages from there unless it was official business. And this was a coded message, which meant someone was trying to hide it. "Put it through the secure decoder," Kim ordered. "Route it to my private terminal." The message took several minutes to decode. When it finished, Kim read the words 3 times before he believed them. The message was from Dr. Yoon Hae-jin, Earth's representative to the Council. She was supposed to be in meetings all week, discussing trade agreements and other boring political matters. The message was short but terrifying. "Council voted today. Earth sterilization approved. Valtharian War fleet already moving. You have 72 hours. Tell Park Jin-woo. Protocol Shadow is now active. I am going into hiding. May we all survive what comes next." Kim felt cold. Sterilization meant killing every human on Earth. The Valtharians were the strongest military force in the galaxy. Their ships could destroy planets. If they were coming to Earth, it meant the Council had decided humanity was too dangerous to live. He immediately opened a secure channel to Earth. "Priority Alpha transmission to Terra Defense Command. Request immediate connection to Director Park Jin-woo." The reply came quickly. "Admiral Kim, this is Director Park. I assume you received Dr. Yoon's message." "Yes, sir." "Is it true? Are they really coming to kill everyone?" Park's voice was calm, but Kim could hear the tension underneath. "Intelligence confirms a Valtharian battle fleet left their home system 6 hours ago. Fleet size is estimated at 400 ships, including planet killers. They will arrive in approximately 70 hours. Kim felt sick. 400 ships against humanity's 12 small vessels. It was not even a real fight. It was murder. "What are your orders, sir?" Kim asked. "Return to Earth immediately. All fleet units are being recalled. We need to prepare for Protocol Shadow." Kim had heard whispers about Protocol Shadow over the years. It was some kind of secret plan that only the highest levels of government knew about. Most people in the military thought it was just a rumor. "Sir, what exactly is Protocol Shadow?" There was a long pause before Park answered. "Admiral, for the past 30 years, while the Council thought they were keeping us weak, we have been preparing for this day. Protocol Shadow is our survival plan, but I cannot explain more over this channel. Just get your ship back to Earth as fast as possible." Kim turned to his crew. "All stations, set course for Earth, maximum speed." This is not a drill. The Incheon turned and began accelerating toward the inner solar system. Kim watched Earth grow larger on the main screen. The blue and green planet looked so peaceful from space. It was hard to believe that in less than 3 days, alien warships would be trying to burn it to ash. As they flew toward home, Kim received updates from the other 11 human ships. All were returning to Earth. The tiny human fleet was gathering for what looked like a hopeless last battle. Kim thought about his family on Earth. His wife Bomi worked as a teacher in Seoul. His daughter So-jin was studying engineering at university. His son Hyun-suk had just started high school. In 70 hours, they might all be dead. But Director Park had sounded confident even with death coming toward them. What was Protocol Shadow? What had humanity been building in secret for 30 years? 8 hours later, the Incheon reached Earth orbit. Kim could see the other human ships taking positions around the planet. 12 small vessels against the coming storm. It looked pathetic. "Admiral, we are receiving orders to dock at Luna Station," reported Lieutenant Park. Luna Station was the main military base on Earth's moon. As the Incheon approached, Kim saw something unusual. There was much more activity than normal. Ships were moving constantly between the station and the planet. Large cargo containers were being loaded onto transport vessels. It looked like a massive evacuation was starting. After docking, Kim was met by Colonel Choi Min-ho, one of Director Park's staff officers. Choi was a thin man with serious eyes who rarely smiled. "Admiral, Director Park wants to see you immediately. But first I need you to sign this." Choi handed Kim a datapad with a security agreement on it. The classification level was higher than anything Kim had ever seen before. "What is this about?" Kim asked as he signed. "You are about to learn what humanity has really been doing for the past 30 years, Choi said. "Follow me." They took a private transport deeper into Luna Station than Kim had ever been. The corridors here looked different, newer, more advanced. Finally, they reached a secure conference room where Director Park was waiting. Park Jin-woo was a man in his 60s with gray hair and intelligent eyes. He had been running Earth's secret defense program since before Kim joined the military. When he spoke, important people listened. "Admiral Kim, thank you for coming. I know you have questions about Protocol Shadow. The time for secrets is over." Park activated a holographic display that showed the solar system. But this was not the solar system Kim knew. There were structures and installations marked in places where nothing was supposed to exist. 35 years ago, a human deep space probe found something in the Kuiper Belt, a derelict alien ship from a species that died out millions of years ago. Inside that ship, we found technology that the current galactic powers had never seen. The display zoomed in on an area near Pluto. Kim saw a massive construction project that seemed to be built around the ancient alien ship. "We reverse-engineered their technology and built something the Council never imagined possible. We call it the Shadow Domain. It is a pocket dimension where time flows differently. 1 hour inside equals 24 hours in normal space." Kim stared at the display. "You mean you can make time go faster?" "Exactly. While the galaxy thought we were trapped in our solar system with primitive technology, we have been using the Shadow Domain to build and develop at an accelerated rate. What should have taken us centuries, we accomplished in decades." The display changed to show manufacturing facilities, research stations, and shipyards, all hidden in the Shadow Domain, all working at accelerated time. "How many ships?" Kim asked, almost afraid of the answer. Park smiled for the first time since Kim had arrived. 2,000 combat vessels, each one more advanced than anything the Veiltharians have ever built. Kim felt his legs go weak. 2,000? But how did you keep the secret? The Shadow Domain is invisible to normal sensors. As far as the Council knows, we have been sitting here building nothing more dangerous than communication satellites. They have no idea what is coming. Kim looked at the display showing Earth's hidden fleet, ships with designs he had never seen before, weapons that looked like they belonged in science fiction stories. Humanity had not been preparing to die. They had been preparing to win. "When do we reveal the fleet?" Kim asked. Park's expression became serious again. "When the Veiltharians arrive and begin their attack. We will let them think they are winning. Let them move into position around Earth. Then we will show them what happens when you try to destroy humanity." Kim felt a mixture of fear and excitement. In less than 60 hours, either humanity would be extinct, or the galaxy would learn to fear the species they had underestimated for so long. The war for Earth's survival was about to begin. Chief Engineer Lee Boram stood in the control center of the most secret facility on Earth, 7 miles beneath the surface of the Pacific Ocean, hidden in the deepest part of the Mariana Trench. The Shadow Domain generator hummed with incredible power. The machine was the size of a small city, built over 30 years by thousands of workers who had sworn to keep its existence secret. Boram looked at the readings on her control panel. Energy levels were climbing toward the activation threshold. In 6 hours, the Veiltharian fleet would arrive at Earth. In 5 hours, the Shadow Domain would be fully online, ready to reveal humanity's greatest secret. Chief, we are receiving the final evacuation shuttles, reported Technician Han from the communication station. All essential personnel are now aboard the facility. Boram nodded. The shadow domain generator was not just a machine. It was also a massive underground city that could house 50,000 people. When the battle started, Earth's most important scientists, engineers, and military leaders would be safe inside the facility. Even if the surface was attacked, humanity's knowledge and skills would survive. She walked to the main observation window and looked out at the incredible sight below. The ancient alien ship sat in the center of the facility like a metal mountain. Its hull was made of materials that human science still did not fully understand. Strange symbols covered its surface, telling the story of a species that had mastered time itself before dying out long ago. Status report on the fleet preparation, Boram called out. All Shadow Fleet vessels report ready for emergence, came the reply from Fleet Coordinator Nam Soo-jin. Admiral Kang's flagship is standing by. Strike wings are in formation. Stealth units are positioned for surprise attack. Boram had helped design many of the ships in the Shadow Fleet. Each one incorporated technology from the ancient derelict, combined with human engineering and creativity. The aliens had always said humans were too primitive to understand advanced science. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The facility's main door opened and Captain Choi Min-ho entered with a group of government officials. Choi commanded one of humanity's stealth ships, vessels that could phase in and out of normal spacetime. His job was to coordinate the evacuation of critical personnel into the Shadow Domain facilities. Chief Lee, Director Park sends his compliments. The surface defense is ready. Admiral Kim's ships are taking positions around Earth. Boram knew that Admiral Kim's 12 ships were just for show. The aliens expected to see some human resistance. Kim's job was to make it look like Earth was putting up a brave but hopeless fight. While the aliens focused on destroying the small human fleet, they would not notice the Shadow Domain preparing to open. How long until the Valtharians arrive? Boram asked. Long-range sensors detect them at the edge of the solar system. 437 ships, including 15 planet killers. They will reach Earth orbit in 5 hours and 50 minutes. Boram felt a chill run down her spine. Planet killers were massive ships designed to destroy entire worlds. Their main weapons could burn away a planet's atmosphere and boil its oceans. The Valtharians were not coming to conquer Earth. They were coming to erase it completely. She turned back to her control panel and began the final startup sequence. All stations begin Shadow Domain activation. Authorization code Alpha 77 Omega. Throughout the facility, massive machines began to come online. The ancient alien ship at the center started to glow with an eerie blue light. Energy readings climbed steadily as the Shadow Domain generator drew power from fusion reactors, buried even deeper underground. Chief, we are receiving a transmission from the surface, reported the communications officer. Dr. Yoon has made contact from her hiding place on Nexus Prime. Dr. Yoon Hae-jin had been Earth's representative to the Galactic Council for 10 years. She was one of the smartest humans alive, with degrees in physics, engineering, and alien psychology. When the Council voted to sterilize Earth, she had managed to escape and hide somewhere in the massive space station. Put her through on the secure channel, Boram ordered. Dr. Yoon's voice came through the speakers, distorted by encryption and long-distance transmission. Shadow Base, this is Dr. Yoon. I have important intelligence about the Valtharian fleet. Go ahead, Doctor. The Valtharians are confident this will be an easy victory. They expect no real resistance from Earth. Their fleet commander, Warlord Kethmore, has divided his forces into 3 groups. The first will destroy your orbital defenses. The second will eliminate your surface cities. The third will remain in reserve. Boram made notes on her tactical display. What about their formation when they arrive? They plan to approach Earth from 3 directions: North Pole, South Pole, and Equatorial. Kethmore believes this will prevent any human ships from escaping. He wants to make sure every human dies. The information was valuable. Admiral Kang and her fleet commanders would need to know the enemy's battle plan. But Boram also felt angry. The aliens were so certain of victory that they had not even bothered to plan for serious resistance. Their arrogance would be their downfall. Doctor, what is the mood on Nexus Prime? Boram asked. Most council species are celebrating. They believe the human problem will be solved within hours. Only a few voices have expressed concern about the ethics of genocide. The Valtharians have convinced everyone that humanity is too dangerous to live. Boram shook her head. For 50 years, humans had followed every rule the Council imposed. They had restricted their technology, limited their military, and accepted second-class treatment. All to buy time for this moment. Doctor, stay hidden. In a few hours, the galaxy will see what humans are really capable of. The transmission ended and Boram returned to her work. The shadow domain generator was now at 60% power. The ancient alien ship glowed brighter, and the space around it began to shimmer like water. Chief, we are detecting temporal fluctuations, reported the science officer. Space-time is beginning to fold around the generator. This was the moment Boram had trained for her entire career. The shadow domain was not just a place where time moved faster. It was a pocket dimension that existed parallel to normal space. Objects inside could move freely between the two realities, appearing and disappearing at will. Begin final countdown sequence, Boram announced. All personnel to battle stations. Throughout the facility, alarms began to sound. Not the harsh warning alarms of emergency, but the steady, purposeful tones of a plan finally being put into action. Thousands of people moved to their assigned positions. Everyone knew their job. Everyone understood what was at stake. On the main display, Boram could see the Shadow Fleet waiting inside the domain. 2,000 ships arranged in perfect formation. Dreadnoughts larger than anything in the Valtharian Navy. Fast attack cruisers with weapons that could tear through alien armor like paper. Stealth destroyers that could appear and disappear at will. Fighter wings with engines that bent space-time itself. Admiral Kang Yesol stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Busan Defiant. Boram had worked with Kang for years, designing the advanced systems that made the Shadow Fleet possible. Kang was brilliant, ruthless, and completely dedicated to protecting Earth. She would not show the aliens any mercy. Shadow Base, this is Admiral Kang. Fleet reports ready for emergence. All weapons charged, all systems green. We are ready to show these aliens what happens when they threaten humanity. Boram smiled. Admiral, you are cleared for emergence on my signal. Make them regret ever hearing of Earth. The generator reached 80% power. The ancient ship now blazed with light so bright that the observation windows automatically darkened to protect human eyes. The air itself seemed to vibrate with energy. Chief, long-range sensors show the Valtharian fleet entering Earth's outer atmosphere, reported the tactical officer. Admiral Kim's ships are moving to intercept. Boram watched the tactical display as Earth's tiny fleet moved toward the massive alien armada. 12 small ships against over 400 warships. It looked like the most one-sided battle in history. The aliens probably thought it would be over in minutes. Chief, the generator is at 95%. Ready for full activation. Boram took a deep breath. Humanity had spent 30 years preparing for this moment. 30 years of secret construction, hidden research, and careful planning. The aliens thought they were about to destroy a weak, helpless species. Instead, they were about to face the most advanced military force in the galaxy. All stations, this is Chief Engineer Lee. The Shadow Domain is now fully active. Admiral Kang, you are cleared for fleet emergence. Show them what humans can do. The ancient alien ship exploded with light. Space around Earth began to tear and fold. Massive dimensional gates opened in the darkness between stars, and from those gates humanity's true fleet began to emerge. The war for Earth's survival had begun, but the aliens were about to discover that they had picked a fight with the wrong species. Admiral Kang Yesol stood on the bridge of the Busan Defiant as her ship emerged from the Shadow Domain into normal space. Around her, the darkness exploded with light as 2,000 human warships materialized behind the unsuspecting Valtharian fleet. The aliens had positioned themselves perfectly for destruction, thinking they only had to worry about 12 small human vessels in front of them. Fleet status report. Kang ordered calmly. All ships have successfully emerged from the domain, reported her tactical officer. Strike Wing Alpha under Captain Song is in position. Stealth Squadron Beta under Commander O is cloaked and ready. Heavy assault groups are targeting enemy capital ships. Kang looked at the main display showing the battlefield. The Valtharian fleet spread out around Earth like a metal net, ready to tighten and crush all life on the planet. Their ships were massive and intimidating, designed to frighten enemies into surrender. For centuries, no species had dared to fight them directly, but humans were different. Admiral, we are receiving surrender demands from the enemy flagship, reported the communications officer. Warlord Kethmore is ordering us to power down our weapons and prepare to be boarded. Kang almost smiled. The aliens still thought they were dealing with Earth's tiny official fleet. They had no idea that humanity's real navy had just surrounded them. "Open a channel to all ships," Kang commanded. "Battle frequency." Throughout the Shadow Fleet, 2,000 ship captains received their orders. Men and women who had trained their entire lives for this moment. Crews who had spent years learning to use weapons and technology beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. This is Admiral Kang to all units. Today the aliens learn what happens when they threaten Earth. We have trained for this day. We have prepared for this moment. Show them that humanity is not helpless. Show them that we are not victims. Begin the attack. Captain Song Dongmin led the first strike from his fighter bomber Dragon's Breath. His wing consisted of 50 small, fast ships designed for hit-and-run attacks. But these were not ordinary fighters. Their engines could fold space-time, allowing them to appear anywhere on the battlefield in seconds. Dragon Wing, this is Dragon Leader. Target the enemy destroyers on the port flank. Quantum torpedoes armed and ready. Let's show these aliens how humans fight. Song's fighters phased out of normal space and reappeared directly behind a group of Valtharian destroyers. The alien ships never saw them coming. Quantum torpedoes struck at the speed of light, tearing through alien shields like they were made of paper. 3 enemy destroyers exploded in brilliant flashes of light. The Valtharians immediately tried to respond, turning their weapons toward the human fighters. But Song's wing had already phased away, appearing behind a different group of enemy ships. More torpedoes launched. More alien vessels died. "What are those ships?" screamed a Valtharian captain over the enemy communications channel. "How are they moving like that?" Commander Ohanul heard the alien panic from her stealth destroyer Silent Thunder. Her ship was completely invisible to enemy sensors, using technology that bent light and energy around its hull. She had positioned herself directly between the enemy heavy cruisers and their flagship. "Stealth Squadron, this is Silent Thunder. Target the enemy command ships. Disable their communications first, then go for main weapons. Make them blind and helpless." O's destroyers materialized just long enough to fire, then vanished again. Their weapons were designed to disrupt alien technology, sending energy pulses that overloaded enemy systems. One by one, Valtharian command ships went dark as their computers crashed and their weapons stopped working. But the main attack came from Admiral Kang herself. The Busan Defiant was a kilometer long and armed with weapons that used principles of physics the aliens had never encountered. Its main guns could fire projectiles that existed in multiple dimensions at once, making them impossible to stop or deflect. "Target the enemy flagship," Kang ordered. "Full power to main batteries." The Defiant's guns charged with energy that made space itself glow. Warlord Kethmore's ship, the Crimson Destroyer, was the pride of the Valtharian fleet. Its armor had never been penetrated. Its shields had never been broken, until now. The dimensional projectiles struck the Crimson Destroyer and passed through its shields as if they did not exist. The massive alien ship shuddered as explosions tore through its hull. Critical systems failed. Atmosphere vented into space. "Impossible," Kethmore whispered as his ship died around him. "How do they have such weapons?" Throughout the battlefield, human ships demonstrated technology that seemed to violate the laws of physics. Cruisers that could exist in 2 places at once. Destroyers that fired weapons from parallel dimensions. Fighters that moved faster than light without using jump drives. The Valtharian fleet, which had seemed so overwhelming just minutes before, was being torn apart. Their weapons could not penetrate human shields. Their sensors could not track human ships. Their tactics meant nothing against an enemy that could appear anywhere at will. "Admiral, the enemy is trying to retreat," reported the tactical officer. Kang watched as scattered Valtharian ships tried to break away from Earth and escape to jump distance. Some were damaged and moving slowly. Others were trying to protect the wounded vessels. It was chaos. "Do not let them escape," Kang ordered coldly. "Send a message to every species in the galaxy. Anyone who threatens Earth will face the consequences." Captain Song's fighters pursued the fleeing aliens, their weapons cutting down ship after ship. Commander O's stealth destroyers appeared behind retreating vessels, striking without warning. The heavy cruisers of the main fleet used their dimensional weapons to destroy anything too large for the smaller ships to handle. In less than an hour, the Valtharian fleet was completely destroyed. 437 of the most advanced warships in the galaxy had been reduced to floating debris. Not a single human vessel had been seriously damaged. "Admiral, we are receiving a transmission from Admiral Kim's squadron," reported communications. Admiral Kim Taeho's voice came through the speakers, filled with amazement and relief. Admiral Kang, this is Admiral Kim. That was the most incredible thing I have ever seen. How long have you had this fleet? Admiral Kim, we have been preparing for this day for 30 years. The Council thought they were keeping us weak. Instead, they gave us time to become strong. On the main display, Earth hung peacefully in space, no longer threatened by alien warships. The planet's blue oceans and green continents had never looked more beautiful. Humanity had survived its first real test as a spacefaring species, but Kang knew this was only the beginning. News of the battle would spread throughout the galaxy within hours. Every alien species would want to know how Earth had destroyed the mighty Valtharian fleet. Some would be frightened, others would be angry, a few might even be impressed. "Admiral, we are detecting emergency transmissions from the battlefield," reported the intelligence officer. Several alien ships managed to send distress signals before they were destroyed. "The Council will know what happened here within hours." Kang nodded. She had expected this. The Shadow Fleet had been designed not just to win battles, but to send a message. Humanity was no longer a weak species that could be bullied or threatened. Anyone who tried to harm Earth would face consequences they could not imagine. "Open a channel to all human ships," Kang ordered. "Fleet-wide frequency." Throughout the Shadow Fleet, crews stopped their work to listen to their commander. "Today we have shown the galaxy what humans are capable of when we are threatened. For 50 years, the aliens treated us like children who could not be trusted with real power. They restricted our technology, limited our freedom, and finally decided to kill us all." Kang paused, looking out at her fleet positioned around Earth. "They were wrong about us. We are not children. We are not helpless. We are not victims. We are humans, and we protect what is ours. Let every species in the galaxy know that Earth is under our protection. Let them know that humanity stands ready to defend not just ourselves, but anyone who needs our help." The cheers from 2,000 ships could be heard even through the vacuum of space. Humanity had won its first victory against the galaxy's most powerful military force. But more than that, they had announced themselves as a power that could not be ignored. The age of human weakness was over. The age of human strength had begun, and somewhere in the wreckage of the Valtharian fleet, emergency beacons continued to broadcast their message to the galaxy. The humans were not what we expected. They were stronger than we imagined. Be warned. Ambassador Cho Gite walked through the corridors of Nexus Prime with confidence he had never felt before. 3 weeks had passed since humanity destroyed the Valtharian fleet, and the entire galaxy was in chaos. The alien who had once dismissed him as a representative of a primitive species now stepped aside respectfully as he passed. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was about to begin. For the first time in his diplomatic career, Cho held all the power in the room. The aliens who had voted to sterilize Earth now desperately wanted to make peace with humanity. Ambassador Cho called out Councillor Veltar of the crystalline Shenty Empire, the tall diamond-like being approached with obvious nervousness. "Perhaps we could discuss terms before the session begins." Cho stopped and looked at the alien with cold eyes. "Terms? 3 weeks ago you voted to murder every human in the galaxy. Now you want to discuss terms?" Veltar's crystal body flickered with embarrassed colors. "The vote was a mistake. We were influenced by Valtharian propaganda. Surely humanity can understand the need for forgiveness." "Forgiveness must be earned," Cho replied. "Take your seat, Counselor. You will learn humanity's terms when I choose to reveal them." As Cho entered the main chamber, he saw that every seat was filled. Representatives from hundreds of alien species had come to hear what humanity would do next. Fear filled the room like a thick cloud. These beings had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. But now they faced something they had never encountered before, a species that was stronger than they were. Dr. Yoon Hai-jin was waiting at the human delegation table. She had finally come out of hiding after the battle, no longer afraid of Valtharian assassins. Her intelligence network had provided crucial information during the crisis, and now she served as Cho's chief advisor. "Status report," Cho whispered as he took his seat. "Intelligence Director Han's agents report widespread panic in major systems," Yoon replied quietly. "The Kalari Hive is recalling its fleets to defend their homeworld. The Arity Republic is offering to negotiate separate peace treaties. Even the Zephyrian Trade Union is asking for protection agreements." Cho nodded. The galaxy's major powers were terrified that humanity would attack them next. "Good. Fear would make them more willing to listen. Council Speaker Tharndok called the session to order. The ancient Iridi had led the council for over a century, but today he looked small and fragile behind his massive podium. This emergency session addresses the recent conflict between the Galactic Council and humanity, Tharndok announced. Ambassador Cho, the council wishes to hear Earth's position on future relations. Cho stood and activated his presentation display. Instead of the usual diplomatic charts and trade agreements, the screen showed images of destroyed Valtharian ships floating in space around Earth. Honored counselors, humanity's position is simple. The galaxy has changed. The old order, where powerful species bullied weaker ones, is finished. A new age has begun. Murmurs of fear and anger rippled through the chamber. Several alien delegates looked like they wanted to object, but none dared to speak. For 50 years you treated humans like dangerous children. You restricted our technology, limited our freedom, and watched us constantly. When we followed your rules and obeyed your laws, you decided we were too dangerous to live. Cho touched his control pad, and the display changed to show intelligence reports that Director Han had gathered over the years. But humanity was watching too. We know about the slave colonies you hide from public view. We know about the genocide campaigns against species that refuse to join your empire. We know about the weapons you have used to destroy entire civilizations. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Counselors demanded to know how humans had obtained classified information. Others tried to deny the accusations, but the evidence was overwhelming and undeniable. Silence, Tharndok shouted. These accusations are serious but unproven. Cho smiled coldly. Unproven? Dr. Yoon, please share our latest intelligence. Yoon stood and activated a different display. This one showed recent communications intercepts from across the galaxy. In the past 3 weeks, humanity has been contacted by 47 different species asking for protection from their current rulers. The Drakari Mining Collective wants freedom from Shenty economic slavery. The Pequod colony ships seek refuge from Kalari forced integration. The Outer Rim settlements are begging for help against Aridi military occupation. The aliens in the chamber looked shocked. They had not expected their subject species to rebel so quickly. These species have suffered under your rule for centuries, Cho continued. They see what happened to the Valtharian fleet and they know that change is possible. Humanity will not ignore their calls for help. General Lim Hyunwook entered the chamber carrying a data case. He was Earth's chief military prosecutor, responsible for investigating war crimes. His presence made many aliens nervous. General Lim will now present evidence of crimes against galactic law, Cho announced. Lim opened his case and began displaying documents on the main screen. The Galactic Council signed the Sentient Rights Accords over 1,000 years ago. These laws forbid slavery, genocide, and forced cultural integration. Yet our investigation shows massive violations by every major council species. The evidence was devastating. Recorded communications showing orders to eliminate entire populations. Financial records proving the existence of slave labor camps. Video footage of military attacks on civilian targets. The Shenty Empire has maintained over 200 slave colonies disguised as mining operations, Lim continued. The Kalari Hive has forcibly integrated 43 species, destroying their cultures and identities. The Aridi Republic has conducted 17 genocide campaigns in the past century alone. Councillor Veltar stood up angrily. These accusations are outrageous. The Shenty Empire follows all galactic laws. Do you deny the existence of Facility 77 Alpha on the Kepler mining world? Lim asked calmly. Veltar's crystal body went completely dark. Facility 77 Alpha was one of the Shenty's most secret slave camps. The fact that humans knew about it meant their intelligence network was far more advanced than anyone had imagined. How do you know about that? Veltar whispered. Humanity has been preparing for this day longer than you realize, Cho replied. We know about all your crimes. The question is, what are you going to do about them? Captain Young So Young entered the chamber at that moment, representing Earth's new liberation fleet. Her ships were already traveling to systems where oppressed species had requested help. Captain Young, please report on current liberation operations, Cho requested. Ambassador, the first wave of our liberation fleet has reached 12 systems. We have successfully evacuated 3 slave colonies and established protection agreements with 7 independent settlements. Local populations are greeting our forces as liberators. The alien counselors looked horrified. Humanity was not just threatening them with military force. They were actively encouraging rebellion throughout the galaxy. "This is illegal," shouted Counselor Zektaran of the Kolari Hive. "Those systems are under our protection." "Protection?" Cho laughed. "You mean oppression? But your empire's days of controlling other species are over." Intelligence Director Han Mi-kyung appeared on the main screen via secure transmission from Earth. "Ambassador, I have an update on our intelligence operations." "Proceed." "Director, our agents report that the Valtharian home system is in complete chaos. With their fleet destroyed, several subject species have declared independence. The Valtharian government is requesting human mediation to prevent civil war." This news sent shockwaves through the chamber. The Valtharians had been the galaxy's dominant military power for over 1,000 years. If even they were asking for human help, it meant the old order was truly collapsing. "Honored counselors," Cho said, addressing the chamber, "humanity offers the galaxy a choice. You can continue the old ways of oppression and control and face the consequences, or you can join us in building a new galactic order based on freedom and cooperation." "What exactly are you proposing?" asked Tharndok carefully. "Dissolution of the current Galactic Council, formation of a new Free Worlds Alliance where every species has equal representation, immediate release of all enslaved populations, and trials for those responsible for crimes against sentient life." The chamber erupted in angry voices. Many aliens were outraged by humanity's demands, but others looked thoughtful. Some species had suffered under the current system and saw this as a chance for real change. "And if we refuse?" asked Counselor Veltar. Cho's expression became ice-cold. "Then you will discover what happened to the Valtharian fleet was only the beginning. Humanity has 2,000 ships ready for battle. How many ships do you have that can stand against our technology?" The question hung in the air like a death sentence. Every alien in the chamber knew the answer. Their combined fleets were larger than humanity's, but the technology gap was enormous. The human ships that destroyed the Valtharians could probably defeat any force the Council could assemble. "We need time to consider these proposals," Tharndok said finally. "You have 72 hours, Cho replied. "The same amount of time you gave humanity before sending the Valtharians to kill us." President Bei Tae-young stood on the observation deck of Unity Station, looking out at the massive space station that had become the capital of the Free Worlds Alliance. 6 months had passed since the old Galactic Council dissolved, and the galaxy was transforming in ways no one had imagined possible. Ships from hundreds of different species docked at the station every day. Former slaves arriving as free citizens, diplomats from newly independent worlds, trade vessels carrying goods between systems that had been enemies for centuries. The dream of true galactic cooperation was finally becoming reality. "Mr. President, the morning briefing is ready," announced his aide. Secretary Park Min-jung-bae nodded and walked to the conference room where his senior staff waited. As Earth's first elected president since the formation of the Alliance, he carried the responsibility of leading not just humanity, but all the free species in the galaxy. Admiral Kim Tae-ho was waiting with the daily military report. The old commander of Earth's tiny official fleet now coordinated security for the entire Alliance. His ships patrolled thousands of systems, ensuring that the age of galactic empires stayed dead. "Status report." "Admiral," Bay requested. "All quiet on the major fronts." "Mr. President, the Liberation Fleet has successfully freed the last Shenty slave colonies. Captain Young reports that over 2 million beings have been relocated to new homes. The former slaves are adapting well to freedom." Bay felt proud of what humanity had accomplished. The Liberation Fleet had become the galaxy's police force, but they did not conquer or control. They simply ensured that no species could oppress another. "What about the Kolari situation?" "The Hive is still refusing to release their integrated populations," Admiral Kim replied. "They claim that forced integration is part of their natural biology and cannot be reversed." Dr. Yoon Hae-jin looked up from her datapad. As the Alliance's chief scientist, she had been studying the Kolari integration process for months. "Mr. President, our research suggests that Kolari integration can be reversed with proper medical treatment. The victims retain their original personalities and memories. They can be freed if they choose." This was important news. The Kolari had always claimed that their integration process was permanent and irreversible. If humans could prove otherwise, millions of enslaved minds could be liberated. "Prepare a medical mission to the Kolari systems," Bay ordered. Make it clear that we are offering help, not demanding surrender. But also make it clear that we will not accept continued enslavement of sentient beings. Commander Park Ji-sung entered the room, carrying a sealed data case. As head of the Alliance Deep Space Exploration Division, he was responsible for investigating the galaxy's remaining mysteries. His expression was serious. "Mr. President, we have discovered something important in the ancient alien ship that provided our shadow domain technology." Bay felt a chill. The derelict ship in the Kuiper Belt had given humanity the tools to defend themselves, but they still knew very little about the species that built it. "What did you find, Commander?" Park opened his data case and activated a holographic display. Strange symbols appeared in the air, glowing with the same blue light as the shadow domain generators. "Our linguistics team has finally decoded part of the ship's database. The species that built it called themselves the Eternals. They were the first civilization in this galaxy, reaching advanced technology millions of years ago." The hologram changed to show star maps and battle formations, images of ships fighting against something that looked like living darkness. According to their records, the Eternals discovered that our galaxy is not alone. There are other galaxies filled with hostile life forms that consume entire civilizations. The Eternals called them the Devourers. Bay felt his stomach turn cold. "Are you saying there are aliens from outside our galaxy?" "Not just aliens, Mr. President. The records suggest that the Devourers are more like a force of nature. They travel between galaxies, consuming all life they encounter. The Eternals tried to fight them and failed." The hologram showed the final battle. Eternal ships, more advanced than anything in the current galaxy, being overwhelmed by creatures that seemed to eat light itself. The Eternals lost their war, but they left behind a warning. The Devourers follow a cycle, returning to each galaxy every few million years. According to their calculations, the next invasion should begin soon. Dr. Yoon leaned forward intently. "How soon?" "The data is unclear, but our best estimate is somewhere between 10 and 50 years. The room fell silent. Humanity had just finished uniting the galaxy and establishing peace between species. Now they faced the possibility of an invasion from creatures that had destroyed civilizations far more advanced than their own. What weapons did the Eternals use against these Devourers? Bay asked. "That's the strange part," Park replied. "Their technology was similar to what we developed from their ship. Shadow domain generators, dimensional weapons, temporal shields, but it was not enough." Admiral Kim studied the tactical displays. "If the Eternals had our level of technology and still lost, what hope do we have?" "Maybe the Eternals made the same mistake as the old Galactic Council," Dr. Yoon suggested. "Maybe they fought alone instead of working together." Bay considered this. The Eternals appeared to have been a single species trying to defend their empire. Humanity had united dozens of different species, each contributing their own knowledge and abilities. "Commander Park, how much of the Eternal database have we decoded?" "Less than 1%, Mr. President. But we are learning more every day. There might be information about Devourer weaknesses or better weapons." Bay made his decision. "Double the research effort. I want every scientist in the Alliance working on this, and begin discrete preparations for galaxy-wide defense." "What about the other species?" Admiral Kim asked. "Should we tell them about this threat?" "Not yet. We need more information first. But begin expanding the Shadow Fleet. If these Devourers are coming, we need to be ready." Over the following weeks, the Alliance quietly began the largest military buildup in galactic history. Shadow domain facilities were constructed in secret throughout human space. New ships were designed using the most advanced technology available. Most importantly, humanity began recruiting the galaxy's best minds to work on the Devourer problem. The Shenty contributed their expertise in crystal-based computing. The former Kalari drones provided insights into hive mind tactics. Even some Irati generals offered their knowledge of large-scale warfare. Species that had been enemies for millennia worked together to prepare for a threat none of them fully understood. Director Park Jin-woo, now elderly but still sharp, oversaw the construction of new shadow domain generators throughout the galaxy. Each facility was larger and more powerful than the original on Earth. "We are creating a network," he explained to President Bay during one of their regular meetings. "If the Devourers attack one system, we can evacuate the population through shadow domain gates to other systems. No single attack can destroy us." But the most important discovery came from an unexpected source. While studying eternal technology, Dr. Yoon realized that the shadow domain was not just a tool for hiding or accelerating time. It was actually a gateway to the spaces between galaxies. "Mr. President, I believe the Eternals designed the Shadow Domain as an escape route," she reported. "If their galaxy was overrun, they could evacuate their entire civilization to another galaxy. But they died fighting instead of escaping?" The record suggests they tried to save other species too. By the time they realized the battle was hopeless, it was too late to evacuate everyone. Bay understood the implications. Humanity could potentially escape to another galaxy if the Devourers proved unstoppable, but that would mean abandoning billions of beings to die. "Continue the research, Doctor. But remember, we are not the Eternals. We do not abandon our friends." As preparations continued in secret, the galaxy enjoyed its first period of true peace in thousands of years. Trade flourished between former enemies. Art and science advanced rapidly through cultural exchange. New colonies were established by species working together. But in the depths of space, sensors began detecting strange signals from beyond the galaxy's edge, signals that matched the eternal warnings about Devourer scout ships. Commander Park brought the news to President Bay on a quiet evening as they watched stars through Unity Station's main window. "Mr. President, our deep space monitors have detected artificial signals from the direction of the Andromeda galaxy. The signal patterns match eternal descriptions of Devourer communications." Bay felt the weight of leadership pressing down on him. Humanity had risen from near extinction to become the galaxy's protectors in less than a year. Now they faced a threat that had destroyed civilizations millions of years more advanced. "How long do we have?" "Unknown, sir. The signals could be from scout ships years away, or advance forces that will arrive tomorrow. But given the distances involved, probably several years at minimum." Bay nodded. Several years to prepare the galaxy for a war against enemies that consumed entire civilizations. It seemed impossible. But then he remembered what humanity had accomplished in just 1 year. They had hidden an entire fleet from the galaxy's most advanced sensors. They had developed technology that surpassed anything the Eternals created.